You look
Lots of
great,
light.
Jess.
Thanks.
Such a comic. You look great, Jessica.
You look great. I'm excited to be doing this. It's hard to be up this early, but I'm glad I'm here.
Well, yo, what time is it there?
It's like 9 a.m. here.
Oh, jeez, I feel less sorry for you. But maybe because I don't know the culture. No, maybe because I don't know the culture. So 9 o'clock is too early, and I'm not. But
not for us.
here's the thing, Jess. I'm not
Yeah.
talking about our lives before lockdown. I get it that was early. I'm asking you, after a lockdown and after being at home and not being allowed to be outside, is 9 o'clock still early?
It shouldn't be, but it is. For the last, what have we been doing this for like 5-6 months?
But I
Every
don't
day
know.
I'm like, tomorrow I'm getting up early. I'm going to journal. I'm going to have a cup of coffee. Like, I think I'm going to become some sort of self-care influencer while I'm trapped in my house.
Great. Yes.
And then, every day I wake up and it's like 10:30. I'm like, oh God, ugh, how did I sleep for 10 hours? Like, it's depression is probably what it is. But, we have fun here.
To all those people listening, thank you for clicking on the button. This is the Johannesburg International Comedy Festival catch-up session, because obviously we couldn't have our festival, which we do have every year. So we decided to, if we can't do that, call up all our international comics, some of them who have been on the festival. Jessica, who was one of our... What I love about your presence, like, when a festival says, this is who's been on before.
Yeah.
What I love about the fact that we have your name in like our books,
Yay,
is because you're such a surprise.
Oh no.
No,
you're terrifying.
No, you see, that's you projecting your shit on my statement. What I love about you is because you walk in and you the kind of actor where we go, we don't know what's gonna happen here. You're this American blonde who comes on stage and then exactly. So that's one of the things we choose to believe. You come on stage and then you are just
filthy.
Filthy. That's not my word. That's the fucking world's world.
I mean, truly.
Honest. You're honest. And I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you as a comic now, because I know filthy is the word out there.
Yeah.
But you're honest. And I love that about you.
Thank you. Thank you. I can't, I don't know. I think that was always my favorite kind of comedy. And where someone would say something and you'd be like, yes, thank you. Okay, I'm not crazy. We've all done that. That's happened. So, and it's like, I think we all sit around and we have our embarrassing moments. We have things that kind of like bring us shame. And I think I approach my comedy like, well, why do I have to just hold on to this myself? Like, why don't, let's just be like, okay, we've all done that. And for the record, there have been several jokes or stories I've done where I say it thinking like, this will be one of those things where everyone goes, oh, me too. And then I've been like, oh, that's just me. None of you have been called a filthy pig in the bedroom? Great, good. I'm glad we shared this moment together,
How do you believe this? Because sometimes I know that as comics who just want to we just want to say the things that we feel and know that everyone experiences. Yeah. Have you subscribed truly, or are you putting on an act when you call yourself filthy?
I'll say this. I don't think I'm not putting on an act.
When you call yourself filthy?
When I call myself filthy, it's subscribing to what other people throw on. Branding, which I hate. Like the idea that, and here in LA, especially with the entertainment industry, it gets in your head this idea that you need to be able to like define yourself, like I'm the crazy, kooky, filthy comedian. And I think labels like that are inaccurate for everyone. I don't think anyone is a stagnant, singular thing.
Right.
And especially with comedy, where I think as comedians, we want to be very honest and open about who we are. All humans have the capacity to grow. And I think comedians, especially, we're constantly examining ourselves.
Can I stop you real quick?
Yes, please.
I'm not interested in comedians. I'm not interested
Just
in all comedians. I'm not interested in people. So if these things that you're saying aren't starting with I'm not interested.
You're interested in me?
Yes.
Well,
Because I asked you a very specific question because I want to know. Because I understand.
Okay.
I understand that thing of like, take it on and call yourself that. But I know that I'm not that.
Okay. I don't think I'm filthy, but that's because my capacity for what is filthy is probably different to, I don't know, a sheltered Christian white American. Like you said, I believe I'm just honest. And it's like, there's things I talk about that there's a culture of shame around where like, even still women talking about sex on stage, immediately people go, oh, you're dirty. But then, 10 male comedians will be like, oh, he's jerking off. And nobody's like, he's a dirty male comedian sometimes. But so yeah, it's more of a label that I try to not honestly attach too much to myself because I think there's a danger in that. I don't ever want to start writing to cater to a label that I've put on myself. If that makes sense.
In terms of international travel, because I know, and I only mention that because I remember when the festival in Joburg was kind of in conception, I was so excited because we didn't have a festival. Like, I know you can name festivals in your head based on where you live and your exposure to comedy. So for me, it's Montreal, it's Melbourne, it's, Sydney, it's Edinburgh, and then maybe like a handful of others. Were you internationally traveling before you came to South Africa? Like, how was your exposure with that?
Yes, I actually met some of the people who run the festival because I did a festival in Montreux, Switzerland.
Yeah.
And what's so funny is that I developed friendships with a few comics. Loizo Gola, I'm trying to think who else was there. All the Loizos but like they saw me do a set where we were in this small room in Montreux because it's a very big French comedy festival.
Yeah.
And there's a huge theater, but they had a small room. It was the first year they had done any English speaking. So they had a whole showcase of African comedians, and then they had a showcase of like English speaking American Canadian comedians. Right. And I was killing just for the table of African comedians. They were laughing. Silence. The Swiss people were terrified by me. They were like, and I was like, this is good. I flew across the world to bomb in front of a bunch of rich people. This is really fun.
Except for the poor Africans.
I felt like I was like, you guys are all I have. It was
it was just 5 laughs a minute and I will live and not die.
So uncomfortable. And then for some reason, by the way, I loved that festival. I loved the people who ran it. I met so many awesome comedians. It was a fun time. It's beautiful. I was like, I can't believe I'm here. For some reason, that festival brought me back 2 years later, and I bombed again in the big theater. I was like, this is fun. But I will say, as a tiny nugget of redemption, somebody came up to me who was in the audience after the show, and they were complimenting a comedian who was standing next to me. You know, that feeling of like, oh, you killed. And you're like, oh no, I'm just going to stare at the floor and hope they don't see me here. Yes. But that person turned to me and they were like, hey, I'm sure that you're very funny. And I was like, oh God. But then they said, but you talk so fast and your American accent is so thick, I don't think anyone could understand you. And I was like, whoa. Like, because that's a note. Talking too fast is a note I've gotten in America. Because I just, if you guys can see that, I'm rattling at 1,000,000 miles per hour. I literally have a tattoo on my hand now that says slow down. Like, that's how bad it is.
Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's amazing.
It's just, you know, a little too much caffeine on the road. And I was like, let's do it. But that was an interesting lesson. So like the next time I went back and I was doing shows over in Europe, I made a like heavy intention to slow down, to the point that I have a couple sets from the last time I was over there just on tape. And my roommate, who's my best friend, also a comedian, we've done shows together. She knows my comedy like better than probably anyone else. She watched a set from one of those, and she was like, you are noticeably, it's like a different energy. And it was, the set went well, but it was like, I had to like take a breath. I can't be bouncing around and like 800 miles per hour, because it's like the translation plus my accent. So that was an interesting lesson. And that was a thing, I think, in coming to South Africa. I was like, well, is my accent going to be too thick for South Africa? Are they going to be like, also, I'm from America, which like is not necessarily a popular place among, like there's, popular. I mean, oh, for sure. But like, there are a lot of assumptions about Americans from people outside America. So you come, and theoretically there's some people watching who already have an idea about how you're going to be, or they're waiting to find out, like, is she going to talk about Trump?
Yes. But that's what I was saying about you when you come on stage. Well, at least let me say, because I did watch you in the States, but it was like home turf.
Yeah, which is different.
Yeah, which is absolutely different. But I remember when you were here, it's always, especially in a foreign country, and you feel it as an act where you go, I know that everybody in the room is in figuring out mode, including yourself.
Yeah.
And nobody in the audience can say that this person is about this. So it's just this thing in the air that only you really know what's going to come out, but your only mystery is you don't know what's going to come back.
Yes.
So it's always that interesting tension in terms of foreign audiences, where for the first time, nobody knows what they're doing, the professional or the people in front. And it's only after you speak, then we can start making sense of certain things. So that's why I was like, I enjoyed watching you, because I'm like, look at this, look at this, look at this. And then you say a thing, and then you can just see everyone go, I was wrong, or I was right, or she's amazing, or wow, or this is the first, and that for me, hello roommate.
That was Nicole, who I was just talking about.
Hey, Nicole.
You look like a mess. You have so many bags. Anyway, also Nicole, a very funny comedian.
Is Nicole the one who shops in the house? What is happening there?
She just went to a doctor's appointment. She hurt her foot, and
I would love to talk. If she's keen, I would love to talk to her. I live in Johannesburg, in South Africa.
Joburg.
Oh, you won me over with that. So the festival that Jessica attended, that's why we're doing this, because we couldn't have the festival, and we wanted to talk to international acts who've been on the fest. So I'm doing all the interviews. I'm only doing like 6 or 5. But
I'm so honored.
Yeah. It's only 6 or 5. And you
murdered at that festival. The clip you posted.
I murdered that one clip.
I mean, murdered. Like walk off, drop the mic, burn the house down, murder.
And then we have no more clubs in Africa.
None, done. You can't. Comedy in Africa is no more.
I ruined South Africa.
The last great bastion of comedy was Jessica Michelle.
Because here's what I want to ask you, Nicole. Jessica was just telling me that she let you watch footage of her when she was here, and she's saying how much she was, not a different act, but a different energy.
No, that was when I was in Europe.
In Europe, yes.
Yeah, I remember how you said.
Yeah, your energy was totally different.
So instead of asking Jessica about the difference in her performance, I want to ask you in the difference in what you saw when she was performing international as opposed to there.
It's funny because there's like, I call it like the late night comedy store energy, which is kind of just like this. It's either it's either this like furious anger or this like manic high energy, because it's like 2 a.m. sometimes, super late, and it's a room full of people, and you're either angry that you're there and there's 3 people there, or you're just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go balls to the wall and see what happens. So either way, she's like usually extremely high energy and very fast paced. But with that one particular set I saw, she had slowed down, and I think perhaps because of a language barrier, but she had also slowed down. I think we talked about it. You said you weren't feeling well that day.
I also wasn't feeling well, but yeah, we were talking about just slowing down.
And her energy was low, and I usually like her fun, crazy, manic energy, but this slow energy, I was like, oh my God, I love this. I love the jokes hit so differently. It's just, it's a buddy stop. It just, there's a different pace to each joke. And it was so much, I don't want to say more enjoyable, but I just enjoyed it. I enjoyed it on such a different level.
Absolutely. And I think that's what I was saying to you. And this is a question to both of you. Well, in terms of like, because Jess was saying she was in America doing American things. When she traveled, she got the note that she speaks too fast.
Yeah.
And someone was saying to her that it's just that people can't hear you. And then she was saying that when she traveled after South Africa, she started kind of applying that lesson. And Jess, what I wanted to say to you is, all of a sudden, because we live in these bubbles, like America's a huge bubble, so it's a bubble of a lifetime. Do you know what I mean?
So it's a real shitty bubble right now.
It's a bubble filled with several bubbles, and we're all going to kill each other.
Yeah. It's death bubbles, just death bubbles. Lots of sadness.
Death bubbles.
Just a lot of disrespect. People are obsessed with their freedom. Freedom is more important than anything. The amendments, their rights. People love their rights here so much so that they would rather someone else live on the street, as long as it means their first, second, third, fourth, fifth Amendment rights aren't being violated. But fuck homeless people, you know? Okay.
But not sexually, just like economically.
No. Oh God, no, never sexually. No.
Right.
The 1% would never. The 1% would never fuck the homeless people ever, no matter how badly they need a WAP. How did we talk about pussies before WAP?
Can I explain? I think I did this, guys. Nicole and whatever the name of the dog is, because I know how you guys are, buddy. So I was saying, when I was on my way here, I was like, I'm interviewing all these international acts. And in my head, I was like, I don't want to do an interview that's like an interview that's an interview, because this is a comedy festival. So I just want to say to you guys, I didn't know what I meant by that, but whatever is happening here,
this chaos.
Just so you know, this is how it is just all day long. We wake up every morning, and every single morning I sing to her.
What song do you sing? We already hear.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. That's it. That's literally all I say repeatedly.
Oh yeah?
And I just stare, because I'm like, how do you have that much energy in the morning?
Yeah.
My mother, when I was in primary school, I don't know how your schooling system works, but like grade 2, she used to wake me up at school, and this was her song to me. And after my song, Jess, you have to share a song story.
Her mom just burned her with a cigarette.
Yeah, my mom. That's so true. Get up. We're late. But please tell me the song that your mom sang.
Go on.
My mom sang, "Cut my life into pieces. This is my last resort. Suffocation. No."
So funny. My mom would just try to suffocate me. So same thing. Don't wake up, so I never have to.
Suffocating you with words, and her mom was just suffocating her. My mom didn't wake me up because she worked, and she made a babysitter fucking wake me up.
Here's my question to both of you. And this is in relation to, I don't know, Nicole, have you traveled abroad, outside of America?
Yeah, a lot,
in terms of comedy?
Have you performed?
Oh, not comedy.
share?
I've done comedy in Canada, but that's it. Yeah.
Which is
Okay.
just polite America.
Yeah, which is oh god.
That's
I actually
fine.
did not like doing comedy that much in Canada. It was too No, you know what? I liked doing it in Calgary. When we did it in Toronto, it was a little mild.
Mild?
Yeah.
They're too polite.
They're like too polite. They're like, "Oh,
They're like, that was funny.
oh,
Right.
hi."
But
They're
that's
telling
the,
jokes.
but that's the sentiment. That's the sentiment because this Switzerland is one of the common festivals that Jessica and I did.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they were both foreign to both of us, even though we fucking come from different countries. But I remember the etiquette in Montreux was also very golfy.
Yeah, it was like
Golfy?
it was
Golfy, yeah.
theater, like watching a play.
Yeah.
I feel like is their energy. Whereas like coming to South Africa, I was like, this is a comedy audience. Like you
Yeah.
guys are high energy, here to have fun. Like
But if you think about historically, the country of
Right.
Switzerland has remained neutral on every single thing in the history of its country.
Including our comedy.
including our
Jess.
comedy.
So it's like, why are those people going to have any sense of humor? They've never had to deal with anything.
That's true.
It's like the entire history of South Africa is built on struggle and strife. Like, of course, people there have a sense of humor. You get to Switzerland and they're like, "Oh, pain? What is that?"
Well, I did run out of
Yeah.
chocolates yesterday.
Oh my God,
Like,
you know,
it's-
I chipped a tooth on my Cadbury bar.
I mean, that's true.
Cadbury's
I
humor.
think people who
Oh,
have
man.
struggled can laugh at more shit.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, fucking. Sometimes all you can do is laugh. That you're like the world's on fire,
Yeah.
literally outside.
So
the
I'm
window.
gonna pause both of you and ask you this question
Yes.
because sometimes as comics, we have created this language that sustains us, and by sustains us, I mean justifies why we do what we do. Things like struggle, right, produces or people who have struggled more have more comedy. I get it as a concept, but I haven't been able to articulate it. And you guys just said it so naturally. Do you really believe it? And if you do, please can you explain to me how that fucking makes sense and how people who don't have pain, i.e. what Nicole was kind of painting about Switzerland, don't have a sense of humor?
I think you can still have a sense of humor without having struggled. However, I think the more life experience you have, the deeper your ability to either understand or yearn to connect or I think someone who has not really had much struggle can still laugh at things, but I think the more you experience, the more you can laugh at. And for better or worse, struggle is a form of experience. Tragedy is a form of experience. So I think every experience we have widens our array of what we can laugh at, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense. Historically speaking, if you look at the two biggest demographics who have occupied space in comedy, it's Jews and Blacks. Both groups have experienced a lot of struggle in the history of their people, and therefore I think have developed senses of humor around it. I think you don't necessarily have to have experienced that to be funny, as Jessica was saying, but it sure doesn't fucking hurt. I mean, it's the proof is in the pudding. I mean, the greatest comedians in the history of the world are, historically speaking, Black.
It's so interesting that you guys put it this way because because now my mind is changing because we've always only pinned it on the fact that out of struggle comes pain. But I love the putting them together because it's not that pain is the exclusive kind of manufacturer of humor. It's just a certain sense. And if you have pain and privilege, you have more sense of humor as opposed to people who have one or the other.
Yeah.
I think so. I also think there's something to if you have pain inflicted either like generationally or personally that's sort of beyond your control, our brains and our minds, it's like in an attempt to keep you alive and keep you sane, it like finds humor in things. It's like our brains are miracles. It will do this amazing thing where it can turn something like you're like like dark humor that some people can't laugh at, but other people go, oh my God, it's hilarious. It's, your brain literally like forces something into joy so that you can experience joy when there are so many circumstances beyond your control causing the opposite of joy.
Come on now.
I think there's something to that.
Yeah.
This decision to speak to you was a decision that was calculated. It was a decision, nice. It was a decision that took into consideration who you are as a person, as an act.
Yay.
And I say that on behalf of the festival, because the people who run it, their hearts are the same as mine. We are about stand-ups. We are about stand-up.
Yes.
And before we knew you, we didn't know you. But the moment we experienced you, we saw you. So from this side of the world,
Proud, Mom.
yes, this side of the world, and in wrapping up with this, I just want to say thank you for being part of the story of the Johannesburg International Comedy Festival. You don't even have to speak now because this is just you.
Because we need to wrap the fuck up.
No, because we needed to wrap up 30 minutes ago. So I'm not about that. I'm about what's happening. You stepped outside of your country and did stand-up comedy, and you ignited audiences because you do the thing, dude. So
Thanks.
if LA ever makes you forget that shit, remember this festival. Remember these Africans who laughed at you in Switzerland when no one else was laughing.
Yeah.
And a year later, we invited you to come, not because we're crazy, but because we see what you do.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me be part of the story. I love you guys. I love the festival.
Dude, I remember when you were going there, I was like, holy shit, she gets to go do fucking comedy in South Africa.
Yeah, and I wouldn't stop singing Africa by Toto, which was really annoying to everyone.
God, I'm going to send you some songs. We need an update.